Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. He's Mike Brenner. We are the odds couple. It's week 3 in the NFL, right? And we're going to talk about the Monday night game, Atlanta and New Orleans, right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Very few people in the industry have handicapped more Monday night games than Joe Duffy. He's been doing this successfully since the late 80s. Love talking to him. We've done a lot of videos with him many years now. And Atlanta, New Orleans, the Saints are getting 3 points here. Now, I know that I'm leaning towards Atlanta. I haven't made a full official decision whether I want to go official with it, although I've...
You're saying Saints are getting 3?
No, the Atlanta's getting 3.
Okay, you said Saints.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's all right. I know you didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
I bet this one when it came out. The total is high. It's 53.5. The Greek is holding 53, though, hanging 53. The Saints are off of 2 close losses, but Atlanta just beat Oakland, and their offense really looked impressive there, right? With the tight end sets, really getting it done. Julio Jones is looking like a force to be reckoned with. And the Saints, I'm just not sure if they're, the kind of potent offensive powerhouse that they have been in years past at home. I'm leaning Atlanta +3. Mike Brenner, before we get to Joe Duffy, what do you think?
Well, towards the end of last year and then in preseason, I really thought I had a good call and a good lean and a good feel for these Falcons, all right? And what's really surprised me with Dan Quinn is that the defense has not come around yet, but the offense is right back to the Matty Ice days, and this team has something that's very dangerous. It's called momentum. And yes, they looked fantastic, all right? Not only last week, they just pounded it down the throats all day long against Oakland, but they really looked well at different situations, all right, in that game against Tampa that they ended up losing. But the offense, they're not making mistakes. They're not being critical. And you called it, that tight end set is really benefiting Devonta Freeman in the backfield. This is a team looking like that it's magic again for them. Right. So the Saints, though, on the other hand, Drew Brees, I never, ever doubt him. This is a slinger. He's got it going. But there's a defense that's still cleaning up from the Rob Ryan debacle. If anything, I think 53 might be low, but I'm not a totals guy. You and Joe are.
No, I'm leaning to over as well. On the other hand, though, New Orleans will have tape to watch from the Oakland game, and they'll be able to make adjustments and prepare for
think they will
for the time.
With that defense?
I don't know. Yeah, they'll have the time. Do they have the personnel? I don't know.
And again, I'm just asking.
Yeah. Let's go to Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy, you've been doing this successfully for a long time. What do you think? Is Atlanta +3 maybe a play here?
Yeah, I'm going to actually elaborate on what Mike said. I think, if anything, I'd probably agree with you on the side, but I more agree with you said about the totals. When Mike said that even against Tampa, they had some decent success in certain situations. Well, I'm going to be more specific. They had success when they were going to the hurry up and the no-huddle offense, and it's become pretty clear that Matt Ryan is much more comfortable there. I've always said that handicapping totals is much more about pace than it is offensive or defensive competence, although the rest is very important too. The offensive defensive competence is important. I think Atlanta's going to go with the no-huddle much more today than they ever have in the Dan Quinn era. You're going to see a lot of that. And if Atlanta has success early, they're certainly going to stick with it the entire game. I also looked up a system. Look, the Saints surprised a lot of people last week by going under, and we have an angle that says when teams go under the total by at least 20 points, and then the total is 49.5 or above in the current game that we're handicapping, it's going over at a 16-8 rate. Now, that goes back to our entire database, going back to 1989. So, granted, it's not a lot of games, but it doesn't surprise me because I think there's a certain regression of the mean. The public, they know the public's going to be a little hesitant maybe to bet the Saints over because they got burned last week by so much. But the Saints still, they are what they are. They're a high-powered offense. They don't play much defense. And Drew Brees against that terrible Falcons. The Falcons have had no pass rush whatsoever in years. They still don't. And I think passing will be a breeze for New Orleans, so to speak. So I think this is going to be a high score. Look, I know the total's high, but still going to go over the total.
Yeah, we had a similarly high total in the Saints game against the Giants. That one made me very nervous. My lean was to the under, and of course that one went way under. But you think this is a completely different situation?
It is, and that was actually a big sharp versus square play last week. I know most of the public did have the over. Some of the sharps had the under, but no, that was I think an aberration for sure, and especially because they're playing against a Falcons team this week that I would be shocked if the Falcons don't pick up the pace big time.
Hey, Joe, I got to throw this tidbit in also. You know what? You're looking at 2 veteran quarterbacks that have lived on the air attack, all right? Another thing that really just can, kind of solidifies in my mind, again, I'm not a totals guy, but the over. All right, here's 2 quarterbacks that are intelligent guys, and they know Our defense sucks, all right? And this guy I'm going against, he's a gunslinger, so I'm going to have to outdo him. There's nobody can tell me that is not in their heads, all right? Not one of them has showed up defensively yet so far this season, and I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I think that fact alone drives this thing up. My God, I'm thinking about the first half.
Yeah. All right, so Joe Duffy, you like the over here. The Greek is hanging 53, so you would lean over 53 with the Greek's number?
You got it, sir. Yes,
All right.
sir.
Well, I'll tell you, in the Heritage Contest, I took the over in that one.
And
So
probably
even though
won, and after that, they probably kicked you out like every other contest.
No, I'm saying for this week, for this upcoming week, I even though it's a high total, I went with the over on that one. I also went with Atlanta to win outright. So those would be my two leans. I'm not going to go with anything officially right now, but Joe Duffy liking the over. You're not going to get anything official on this one.
I already did. I already got Atlanta, remember?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did that in one of my other videos. Pete, you got to check it out.
Really? I thought it was the... okay, I will check it.
We'll check it, because I might be wrong. Holy
All right,
cow,
yeah,
it's almost liquid lunchtime.
All right, sounds good, Joe Duffy. The over Joe Duffy's website is offshoreinsiders.com. Quickly tell us about that, Joe Duffy.
We're off to a 39-23 start during the regular season, off a profitable preseason. Already a ton of plays up for this week in college and the NFL at offshoreinsiders.com.
Awesome. Of
God,
course,
you gotta
Mike
love
Brenner and I come from sportsbookreview.com, where you can read reviews and ratings of every sportsbook in existence right now. Thanks so much, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, gents.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts and shop for lines at sbrodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.